Okay, so Blue started off with this nice load of stuff they're planning on hauling down to here, but they got die rolls that didn't quite do it. One sends them down this way. They really needed the 6 to get here. Once they get here, they can stop. They don't have to actually keep going down that path as far as I recall. So now, next turn on a 4 and a 5, they could get here, and that's good enough. If they had slipped down here with a 3 or a 4, they could shoot up to here and sell here, which would be just as good for them, but they didn't get that die roll. So they're in kind of this, heading this way would have been bad. There was really nowhere they could go from here. With a 4, that means 5, 6, 7. Well, 5 is quite a way away, and they had already chosen their first place. Sometimes the dice just kind of screw you up a little. After the yellow Dell player actually manages to sail in here pretty easily and starts selling off his materials that he has planned for there. Now he had the option, hey, maybe you want to buy this. This is a nice base, but the problem is he didn't have the 200 bucks right up front to buy it, which means he's got to delay a turn anyway. When you lose that turn, it becomes less valuable to buy a base. You don't make money off of it immediately, and maybe other players aren't going to visit it. This is a good one, though, that a lot of people will want to visit because it's in one of these navigation circles. This is kind of a hard planet to get to, so, or city or whatever. Then over here with the E-Peeps, they did some purchases. They bought one psychotic sculpture. They have money in some of these relics that they might have wanted to turn in. Spy Eye is becoming less and less valuable. They've kind of seen most of the asteroids that they kind of wanted to, but there's still a couple out there. It may still serve some purpose. It no longer can discover any people. Instead, what they did, they grabbed the psychotic sculptures, which they'll haul up here to the 10, 1, 2, 3. They're on 10, so they can haul it here, make cash off that, but they also picked up the fare to base. If they haul this back to the galactic base, they get 150 bucks and they never had to invest any money in it. Problem with it is, when they pick up this Chicky Liquor, they can pick up Mulch Wine here, haul it to Chicky Liquor. They only get to grab one. Then from here, they can bring this to the Winhams, but they're hauling just one commodity each time. So they may space this guy for 150, but this only makes 40, this only makes 50. It almost looks like they make more from the fare. So they may just keep that on board unless some other opportunity comes up. They may also see, hey, you know, maybe I can buy, that's an industry space. That allows me to get the bigger ship, so if I go to a slightly larger ship, I can haul some more stuff there. So if I have the cash already by that point, which I should. Alright, a lot going on here. Sale of another Bionic perfume, which had a bonus there. A lot of money for the red player. He ends up picking up the Primitive Art, which gives 30 bucks to the owner of that factory. That's the Dell player over here. You know, these guys produce a little bit more. If you look, it has a $100 profit on it, whereas the main thing only has an $80 profit. Of course, again, no demand for that. But he also bought himself a Clipper ship, which gives him a 4th die. That'll allow him to move faster. It'll also give him more dice to play with his jump start and autopilot abilities. He's kind of looking at, yeah, being able to jump in and out of places, grab the big bonuses on the chips. That's going to be more important to me than doing what this guy's doing with hauling the freight. To some extent, you get forced into the choice, you know? I mean, eventually, this is more valuable in terms of you could haul a lot of valuable stuff with that, too. But, well, being able to move twice as many pips might be important. It's also, you know, you're sitting on a place where you can only make a choice of the Clipper. You've got the Clipper and the Scout as the only ships that are available there, as opposed to the Freighter and the Transport. So, you know, well, do I wait around and try to improve to the heavier ship? It's not like Crayon Rails. There is no Super Chief here. There is no train that combine. Well, that's the Rail Baron, but Crayon Rails has that example of you can go with weight or speed. But usually you pick one, early and then you transfer upward to something that has both. This game, you don't have that option. You have the option between paying more for bigger, heavier ships like that freighter. That's the most expensive you can get, but it goes slower anyway. That's a nice, to me, a better kind of challenge in terms of a decision you have to make. Hey, do you want to go faster? Do you want to carry more? You never get that choice of, oh, I just want everything. I want it all. You don't get that in this game, and I like that. And for green, they were hoping to be able to, whoops. They were hoping to zip their way into this telegate on a 5 and then run through here on a 3. They're able to do that because of the switch, the mulligan gear. You know, actually, I forgot the mulligan gear. They'll re-roll this die. Ha ha. Maybe they can get it. And they do not. They get a 5 and a 4. That'll give them 2 more movement points. The 4 could put them here. Could the 5 get them out of there? Probably not. They could jump over here. They don't have a lot of shielding. Basically, they're looking for a way to get to a 1, a 2, a 10. And that's it. 10, 1, 2. 10 is down here. That's not really within range of their jump that they could possibly get to. The 1s are here and here. This one's the closest. How about this if they did a 4 here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Jump over here. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They're only at 11. They might be able to make it there more quickly than they can make it around here. But, you know, it's just, it's hard to make that judgment overall. And they'll go with what they got. So that's another time around. Another big upgrade. The Dells went up to a Clipper as well. Their plan with that 6 speed, with the 6 goods, is they have to drive them up here. There's a demand for for Immortal Grease here, which they're hauling. They want to get there quickly. The more dice you roll, the more chance of getting the 3 and 4 that they need to get through there. If they get a 3, they don't even have to go through this. They've got a problem here. Technology-wise, they couldn't get... No, they could have gotten a red drive, but they'd have to put that in a hull box because drives can't go on the outside. So they got to hope for a 3 to get through here. Otherwise, it's going to cost them $20 to blast through that. Of course, with the combat rules, a laser would allow you through there. How much would a laser have cost me, and could I have gotten it there? Can't get a laser. I could get a Nova Ball. That's $20. That's the same cost as the actual thing. A Nova Ball is a one-shot torpedo-type weapon, though. It's not good for clearing debris out and getting your scores for that. So this is pretty much the best they could do. Not seeing. So as I bring up these, you know, firing rules and stuff, generally, nobody arms themselves. It's just not worth it. But if somebody's ahead in the game, hey, you know, if I feel up to it, maybe I'll start buying armaments. Once somebody starts doing that, it gets weird. These little fort counters become important. I don't know whether or not, I mean, theoretically I'm playing with the rules, I just don't know whether or not I'm going to actually use them at all. They're kind of a pain in the ass, and I don't know how much they add to the game. They just kind of draw it out. They make it possible to catch up a little easier, but even then they don't really help much. They just end up making the players who are in the lead have to pay to protect their stuff or rebuild it. And it's just kind of an annoyance. Yellow ended up charging up here, taking advantage of the demand, and then drawing probably the same chip again, but another one of the same type at least. Nice sale there, and he's got more to sell. The problem, he didn't have enough cash to do the, hey, I want to buy a space station and then jump up there immediately and use it the next turn. But now, the E-Peeps land here at a Wynnum station. This means that they can sell everything they have. Well, that's only one thing, really. They want to hold their relics, I guess. But they can also buy stuff at the same time. It saves them a little time. It gives some cash. So here, they're going to make $250, the same as they would normally for selling these psychotic sculptures. But the Wynnum player is going to make $25. You start giving people an advantage when you start taking this little shortcut, the advantage of using the port that they build you. But, you know, it's worth it for you, and it gives them some cash. No big deal. You're not really hurting yourself. At some point in the game, at the same point, and by the way, Blue decided to buy themselves a Nova Ball, just with the, hey, you know, I'm going to start arming my ship, getting it ready. If I have to, I'll take advantage of that. But if not, I won't, you know. It's an expense. The Nova Ball especially is more a defensive weapon because you have to pay $20 to replace it. But in this case, you know, two players are getting the advantage. You might as well take it. It doesn't matter that you're helping someone else. There does come a point in the game, though, at about the same point when you start thinking about using those weapons, where you think, hey, somebody's in the lead, I'm going to hit them. That you kind of also think about, well, maybe I don't want to speed my turn up so much by landing in that guy's port and giving him 10% of all my transactions. Because this guy's going to give 25 for the Psychotic Sculptures, and then when he buys this, he gives him another 2 for that. So he's giving $27 for a turn, essentially, because next turn he would have to wait a turn to pick that up. Well, let's see what else happened. Red flew into here, and instead of buying and selling right away, they bought themselves this base. Next turn, they're going to slip over to there. They can do that very easily. And now they get 10% on everything that they trade. And now there's an attractive location for other people to buy and sell out of this planet. It makes that planet more valuable. People will come to it more often because it's less of a pain in the butt if you can sail in there. Therefore, increasing the value of that space station even more. Over to the Wynnum. They bought up some pet monsters, which was Dell's things, so they end up getting $40 for that purchase. And then finally, the Knicks, well, they were going to skim through here, but they notice there's 2 designer jeans bonuses here. They're calling 2 designer jeans. That's going to give them 180 extra bucks just to go a little bit further. At that point, it's worth it, you know, especially since once they get there, then they can trade this way or that way. It doesn't really matter. I mean, either one might work. There might be things nearby that'll all be increases. But when you start seeing a double demand on something, especially when you're carrying more than one of it, it's usually worth taking. So instead of just selling it here, and in fact they found both the open ports on their way through, just kind of, hey, maybe there's something interesting there I'll pick up. And they're able to blast through with their shields. Everybody's got shielding now for the most part. Not everyone, but a lot of the players. So in a lot of the cases, it's very easy to just fly around. You don't have to worry about most of the penalty spots anymore. Alrighty. I guess I'll load this one up. I feel like taking a break, and I'm at that 15 minutes left, which means I've spent 13 minutes on the video. That's long enough. Alright, up it goes.